6, I thought it was 7. Thanks, Tim. My name is Aaron Banwell. I'm the founder and director of Idea Fab Labs, which you are currently occupying. So you guys might be wondering, what is Idea Fab Labs? Idea Fab Labs is a makerspace. And has anyone here ever heard of a makerspace before? So, if not, I'll tell you what it is. A makerspace is a space where there is access to high-tech tools, generally. It's a growing movement that's happening across the world. There's makerspaces popping up by the hundreds all over the world. And the sort of standard set of tools that comes along with a makerspace is laser cutters, 3D printers, CNC routers, and a lot of just digital fabrication tools. So we offer membership access to high-tech tools and traditional tools. We're kind of like a gym, we like to say, but instead of having access to workout equipment, you get access to high-tech and traditional tools. So as I was saying, we have laser cutters, 3D printers and scanners, digital embroidery machine, CNC router, wood shop, textiles, jewelry, screen printing, vinyl cutter, large format printer, screen printing, and electronics. And excuse my my bar at the bottom there and my poorly designed presentation. I just threw this together to fill in for a sick person. So, here's just some photos to show some of our equipment. Top left there we have a laser cutter, 3D printer, CNC router. If you don't know what a CNC router is, this is a 4-foot by 15-foot robotic wood cutting machine. We have a full wood shop. There's the digital embroidery machine and also screen printing. So, IFL history. We opened here in Chico, California in 2013. At the time, we were the only makerspace north of San Francisco in California. We opened a second location in Santa Cruz, California in 2015. And we have approximately 100 members at each location currently. What are our revenue sources? So, our first and main revenue source is memberships. We charge a monthly fee, $30, $75, or $100, depending on what the members want access to. We also have quarterly and annual. We also charge quarterly and annually if members want to purchase more long-term memberships. In addition to that, we do field trips. So we bring in schools. We have had schools from kindergarten all the way through college age. We have a couple different variety of field trips, but they both involve tours through the facility with demos of all the digital fabrication tools. And we had over 1,000 students who visited in 2017. We also do contract work. Laser cutting, CNC routing, and 3D printing comprises the majority of the contract work we do. We do lots of signs for people around town, 3D printing for engineering students at the school, CSU, and various laser cutting jobs. We just started our youth STEM program. So it's hands-on learning on a variety of subjects for 9 to 13-year-olds. And it started out, we envisioned it as an after-school program, but immediately after announcing it, we were approached by a lot of parents of homeschool students who go through some of the local charter schools. So we've now been approved as a vendor for charter schools, so we're actually providing curriculum, STEM curriculum for homeschool kids as well. And we're looking at expanding that into other age groups and just offering more. Right now we're just doing one session at a time, so in the future we'll be doing multiple different subjects simultaneously. Our Tech Art Incubator program. This is something we've been doing since we first opened our doors. So we invite artists to come and they propose some way they're going to augment their workflow or their traditional medium with high-tech tools. So once we've accepted their proposal, they come in, they have a studio space here, and they generally do an 8-week incubator where I coach them through ways of integrating technology into their workflow, or really the goal is to push the boundaries of how these digital fabrication tools have been used and to apply them in mediums and in different traditional workflows in ways that haven't been seen before.
You've got 2 minutes now.
Okay. That's going quick. So, we also do museum exhibits. We have our our augmented reality sandbox, which is right over here. And our customers include Shasta Unified School District, Monterey Bay Aquarium, and also the Monterey Peninsula School District. So here's just some photos to go along. Some contract work we did, the sign. Here's our augmented reality sandbox for our museum exhibits. IFL field trips. Here's some art from the Tech Art Incubator program. Partnerships. So we've got partnerships that we're working on with Butte College Create Space, which is a new makerspace they'll be opening soon. They got a big multi-year grant. The CSU Chico just had their grand opening of their library makerspace yesterday. We have a partnership with them. And also with Chico Start, we're running 1 million cups. The future. So we want to move further into hands-on science museum exhibits. We'd like to offer the LED ceiling array as a product. We want to get into hardware startup incubation, so helping startups who have a hardware component work through all the manufacturing and design aspects of their products, and further integrating with the government around makerspaces, which are popping up all over the place. So thank you very much.
No questions?
All right, thank you, Aaron. Now it's time for question and answer time with Aaron. So I do have a bunch of questions as well. So Aaron, take the questions and let's start 20 minutes.
All right. Yes.
How did you guys pick Santa Cruz as the second location?
Santa Cruz is my hometown.
Oh, okay, cool.
And the whole time we were here having this happen, and as this was building here, it happened pretty organically here. Initially I had a laser cutting contract business, and that sort of segued into creating a makerspace as I started giving other people access to the laser cutter. So as we were building this facility, and it was being really successful, a lot of my community in Santa Cruz was sort of saying, hey, you know, that'd be great if we had one of these down here. And there was Tech Shop. I don't know if anyone heard of Tech Shop. They're sort of the first makerspace. And they had a bunch of locations all over the nation where they have like 5 or 6. Right. And they actually just recently filed bankruptcy. Yeah. So they were our closest competitor, and the closest one was in San Jose, which is a good, you know, half an hour, 40-minute drive from Santa Cruz at least. So there was no other makerspace in the market. And so once we started talking about the idea, some investors showed up, and it all fell into place.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I know some run as a nonprofit, some run as a for-profit. Is this a for-profit or?
This is an LLC.
Okay.
And we looked at doing nonprofit.
Yeah.
We actually we had a nonprofit project under a fiscal sponsorship for a couple of years that was doing a scholarship program, so that we could offer discounted membership to low-income individuals. And we've ended that relationship, but we've actually just recently started up a new nonprofit project that is offering a scholarship fund for students to our STEM program. And we're doing that through the North Valley Community Foundation.
I guess the LLC lets you do, you know, people could come and kind of treat this as their office more than a nonprofit.
You know, honestly, it could have very easily gone nonprofit. And it's almost like a daily question, like, oh, should we have done it nonprofit? There's certainly a lot of opportunity for grants and all that stuff. I think really the main reason why I stuck with the LLC was that I wanted to have complete control into eternity and not feel like, you know, in the end I'm building this thing that the public owns. Additionally, a lot of the equipment when we started was my personal equipment. So those are kind of the things. And then just the red tape of starting a nonprofit versus starting an LLC. Starting an LLC was a lot simpler. And I still do regularly sort of think about different nonprofits arms that we could have. I've considered making all the educational aspects into a nonprofit. So that's where we're at. Yes?
Do you allow, I guess, under 18 in here as far as, you know, for liability reasons and as long as we're with adults or?
So we have a child-parent membership under which the child is going to be under parent supervision the entire time they're here working. And then the only non-supervised by their own parent child access is our STEM program. So that's been something that we've sort of struggled with, was how to offer access to youth and under 18. And so for a long time, we were doing the field trips, which is really great because that's sort of what the schools really want. And a lot of people just want to kind of be able to come in and find out about it. But you know, most people, your average person, I'd say the majority of people are not going to come get a membership here. And that goes the same for youth. But most people would like to come in and have a tour and find out about it. So the field trip really did a pretty good job of fulfilling some need for the youth community, but there was nowhere to go from there. So all these kids come in for field trips, and maybe 10% of them were like, I would love to come in here and get a membership. And we didn't, you know, unless their parents going to come spend every minute here with them, which doesn't happen that often. It wasn't really working out. So that's why we've created this STEM program. And so far, we just started that last week, actually. It was our first class. So it's going good so far. And I foresee that we're going to be expanding it a lot. Yes?
So revenue streams, you have your memberships, you have sale of like the augmented sandbox for one.
Yep.
And then your field trips, and now is STEM a revenue stream?
Yes, it is. The Youth STEM program here, number the fourth one down. Yep, so that's it's a paid after-school / homeschool program.
Cool.
Yep. Yes.
To me, this just makes sense going into high schools though as well. With so many high schools having deleted their auto shops, their workshops, because for their own liability reasons, but you know, and also for whatever other reasons. But all those things, you know, that us old people took when we were in school no longer exist. And so to me, this seems like it'd be perfect, you know, a perfect thing to develop for the high schools as well.
Yeah. So
ROP program?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
We've had ROP kids in here from Chico High.
Okay.
And honestly, they have a pretty good engineering makerspace program over there at Chico High. They have some like really high-end 3D printers.
Oh, okay.
What I've seen is that a lot of these school, community college, CSU makerspaces, there's a ton of red tape, so they really have a hard time getting a lot of these tools into place. So like they just opened this makerspace at the Chico State Library, and they have a 3D printer and a sewing machine, right? And what we have, you know, like a ton of these industrial tools, and there's just a lot of tools that they realistically won't be able to put into a library.
Right.
You know, I mean, just from noise,
Right.
the laser has exhaust, there's fire danger, it's dusty, it's dirty, it's smelly, it's noisy. So I think that there's going to be probably a pretty big learning curve for a lot of these government agencies, and including schools, to get makerspaces in place, just because it's so out of the realm of what they do now.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd see a spot for us to be providing facility and providing access to those people for sure.
Is there any other community outreach programs that are doing vocational type things that are trying to work with you as well?
No, we just did the ROP,
Okay.
and we're actually not doing that currently with them because I think they've expanded their in-house facility.
Okay. Last question. I won't hog your time. Going back to talking about the tech space and their demise, did you know anybody there you could learn from what they did wrong, or because like the word on the street is like they were really poorly managed.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Were they a
So-
nonprofit or were they for-profit?
They were for-profit, tech shop. So what I saw there was, one, they expanded really fast. They got into sort of startup world and got a bunch of, you know, angel investment, and then just very poorly managed from that point on, in a very unsustainable way. I'm like really hands-on, and my business partner Jordan Lehman, who runs our Santa Cruz facility, we're both very hands-on. We're both makers ourselves. We're here using the tools, so we're pretty like, you know, have our finger on the pulse of what's going on in these facilities, and it really does require a person to be there, sort of, you know, being aware of how it's going, because it's a community here. And Tech Shop really didn't have that. And that's the thing that we saw as differentiating ourselves from Tech Shop from the very get-go, was that we're consciously creating a community of creatives and making that collaborative workspace where people feel really welcome to come and meet someone else. It's very social. And really the social aspect of this was something that we focused on from the get-go. So they expanded too fast in an unsustainable way. They were opening up these spots all over the place. And then it seemed like management was really out of touch with the actual, with the community of members within their spaces. Yeah. Additionally, so when we opened our Santa Cruz space, we had a bunch of people who now were going to decide for themselves whether they wanted to use Tech Shop like they've been using, or if they were going to start using us instead, because we were closer in the same county, etc. And I had one guy come in, and he came in, opening day, and of course we didn't have all our equipment in place yet, but we had some of it. He came in and he says, "So Tech Shop has, $1 million worth of equipment under their roof," like that's their motto. How much do you have? And I was like, well, it's not $1 million, but the question is there. If you have $1 million worth of equipment, how many members do you need to pay that off?
Right.
And honestly, I don't understand what their plan was. How were they going to cover that? So, we don't have a $100,000 CNC, right? We have a $10,000 CNC. We don't have a $50,000 laser. We have a $12,000 laser, right? So I think that, there was a lot of missteps, I think. And I can see how they get caught up. Obama had Makerspace Day and big grant programs coming out federally and through the states. So I think they got kind of caught up in their own excitement. Yes.
Okay, so it sounds like you got a great thing going on, and I'm so glad that. I'm sorry that she was sick, but I'm really glad to hear you. So what would you say, like, if you had to pinpoint one need or one thing that you wish for or challenge that you're having right now, what would that be?
I think our biggest challenge, honestly, is getting the word out about that we exist here. We're profitable at this point, but not, just barely. We don't have a huge budget for marketing, so most of our marketing is word of mouth, Facebook. We put flyers out around town. So really just partnerships. I'm hoping that these partnerships, that I have partnerships sort of starting with a bunch of makerspaces that are just opening or about to open with Butte College and CSU Chico mostly. And both of those organizations have wanted to create a partnership where they are funneling members to us because we have longer hours, more tools, bigger facility, just more access in a lot of ways. So they really see us as augmenting their services and what they're offering in a major way.
What percent capacity would you say you're at? Like how many more members would fill capacity?
It's kind of hard to say because just like a gym, so when you sign up for a membership here, it's a monthly subscription. So you put in your credit card and it charges you every month until you cancel. So there's people who are here every day. There's people who are here, every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, running their business, or they're just here for a hobby or whatever. But there's also people who come and join, and they come, they're here every day for 4 or 5 days, and then we don't see them for 3 weeks, and then they're like, I'm getting back on the horse. So it's hard to say what capacity really is, because it all depends on how much use each member plans on using the facilities. As far as equipment, the lasers are by far our most popular tool, and we just got a second laser about 6 months ago, and they're not even close to full capacity yet. So I would say, no more than 50% at most. Yes?
How do you deal with insurance, or have you ever had any accidents with these equipment?
We've had very few accidents. We do have liability insurance, of course. It was a little difficult at first getting insurance just because they didn't know what bracket to put us into. But we're happy with our insurance now. We had one person cut their finger on the table saw, and that's the worst accident we've had. And yeah, we just hope, we have safety and basic use classes. So when you join, we're split up into zones. This whole list of all the tools that I gave here, each one of these is a zone. Each zone has a zone manager who's a volunteer, And we offer volunteer memberships that are highly discounted. So we have, I think, about 25 volunteers right now. Some of those have been with us for years, and those are the zone managers. And so we have a safety and basic use class for each zone, and that is offered once a week. So you join, you pay online, you come and take the new member orientation, which is an in-person orientation where we go over all the rules, etc. From that point, any tool you want to use, you have to take the safety and basic use class. So you go and take that class, you pass the course, you get signed off, and now you have access to those tools. So there's pretty thorough safety guidelines as far as education on safety, on all the safety for all the tools, and there's also a strong sort of peer safety culture going on. So that's pretty much it. Yes, Tim.
Do you offer any other classes besides?
Yes, we do have classes. We have a system where anyone can propose to teach a class, and we vet them, and we also help them develop the curriculum if they need it. So it's not there isn't always a class being offered on the calendar, and I've spent some time like really going. Like maybe about a year ago, I sat down and said, okay, I want to really just have classes going all the time, and I really did a lot of outreach to instructors, and I developed a whole 6-month schedule of classes. And I think just we didn't really have the reach for marketing, so there wasn't enough people coming in and taking the classes for me to continue putting that much energy into it. I have seen there's some other makerspaces that have much larger populations that are able to use that system, and there's just the instructors are getting auxiliary income from it, and so it sort of keeps itself going. And I'd like to see more classes, but I just need to have instructors coming in and offering their class. Yes?
Can I, and I'm not sure if this is viable, can I maybe propose you work with Chico State and get a marketing intern in here? You are open at the top. I mean, there are so many directions you could go, and I've written down a bunch of ideas, and I think just getting the word out.
Yeah.
And if you were a marketing major, this would be a dream job.
I would love that. I actually have.
Yeah.
I would love to get a few marketing interns in here, because really there's like I could use a marketing intern or two just for the augmented reality sandboxes, let alone the entire business.
Right.
Butte College, the Create Space, Makerspace, they got a big 2-year grant there, and part of their requirements is interns,
right.
And they have budget for paid interns, so they've offered us 2 paid intern positions. So I actually have 2 open marketing paid internship positions that I'm trying to fill right now.
I have someone already.
Great.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
Oh, by the way, I saw you guys were in the newspaper over the weekend
Oh, really?
for the art installation on Saturday. Didn't you guys have an art thing on Saturday? Yeah. So I did see. Unfortunately, I read it on Sunday.
What was it? Oh, for the art show. Yes. Yes. So we just had on Saturday our most recent tech art gallery exhibition. So that includes these walls here, but our main gallery is the space back there. After the presentation is done, please feel free to go check it out. It's a local artist named Lucas Rodriguez. He did a lot of laser cutting, CNC routing, and vinyl cutting, as well as custom LED lighting. So please do check that out.
And the black light.
Yeah, he's got black lights and stuff on it. Yes.
I also, there's so many things that I have a team of 16, we could all come and do a screen printing, project together. Things like that, like we're friends with Christine McShane, her art space, creating something, a piece of art together, and I see so many opportunities also. I know that's a
Team
lot.
building.
Yeah, team building.
Yeah, that would be great.
Corporate team building.
Things that really can be created over maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours.
So maybe I could offer
Absolutely.
here's team building and here are our offerings, Here's a list of different activities that you could choose from to do team building, perhaps?
Right, and then people were like, I'm into that and all that you have to offer, so I would think so many of those would turn into membership.
Yeah, that would be great. Actually, on the subject of team building, are you guys familiar with Odyssey?
Yeah.
They're in town here, and they do philanthropic team building. They started out doing ropes courses and bungee jumping, and now one of their main products is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a prosthetic hand for amputees. So it's Microsoft's one of their big customers. So they have these kits. The Microsoft employees or whoever get into small groups, and they put together these kits that is a mechanical prosthetic claw that ratchets shut and opens up if you twist the wrist. And so then they send those back to Odyssey, and Odyssey distributes them to amputee victims in third world countries. So we're actually teaming up with them. I should have put them in here, but I forgot. We're teaming up with them, and what we're doing is creating the attachment that attaches to the residual limb is not that great, as they would say. It's like 4 straps and a piece of elastic, and doesn't look very comfortable. So they've asked us to design a mostly or completely 3D printed arm attachment, and the idea is that high school science classes who already have a 3D printer will buy these kits, they'll put together the hand, they'll 3D print the arm, and this is basically going to be a product that they're selling on their website and also through Amazon, and it's going to be branded, co-branded, Idea Fab Labs and Odyssey. And I just finished the first prototype and it's looking great, so
that's licensing the reference design. Nice.
Yeah, and we're looking at doing a lot of these kits with them into the future that are like STEM-based team building kits. So that could actually be, those could be the offerings for a team building thing like what you're saying. In addition to, we could do team building like you're saying, more just come in, use the laser cutter, use these, use that.
Events.
We got one more question.
Yes.
Yeah, this may fall under electronics. The other day I heard that some people talking about getting together to do Python programming, and I know you can do Python on a Raspberry Pi. And kind of related to electronics also is maybe a ham radio operating station, so that, talk about getting the word out. You've got a ready supply of local nerds that are.
Yeah. So I've actually thought for a long time that we kind of need a programming zone. Yeah. And up till now, all our zones are based on a tool. And I see that when programmers come in here, there's a community of other programmers here, but it would be great if we had more of a specific offering to those people. Whereas right now it's kind of like just come in and network. We tried doing a programming night where we had multiple programming mentors who were here, including Scotty back here. So I do think that having a more official offering for programmers is probably a good idea.
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron. I told you to go by quick, huh? All right, thank you very much, Aaron. Thank you to the Fab Lab. Thank you, BCAC, and thank you, 6 Degrees Coffee, for all your support and your help. And thank you all the organizers who showed up today to help be here. And we will be here next week with Safe Baby, which she will step back up and fill in and do her presentation next week. So we'll see you guys all next Wednesday. Thank you for your time, and thank you for showing up, and hopefully share this with all your friends. If you haven't signed up online, you can sign up, like us on Facebook, download the 1 Million Cups app, and also take a look at our YouTube channel and share the videos on anything you like with your friends and family. Thank you very much. Have a great day.